started. And as Kathy said, you know, for those that aren't joining right now, they can always listen to the replay. It seems to be, you know, a preferred way to tune in sometimes. And I suspect we're going to have several members that are joining us a little bit late. And there's Laura. Laura, welcome. We can barely see you, but I know you're there. So let's get started. Let's get started. So Joseph and I are hosting this call with Michelle Orwick and Dr. Marie Mbouni in Bob and Noel's absence while they're at Damanhur in Italy. So we're excited to be hosting this call for them and excited to introduce you to Marie and Michelle. In 2019, the four of us will be in the sacred British Isles, England and Scotland, and Michelle and Marie will be primary facilitators for a journey with the theme of activating the higher heart of Avalon. So let me just introduce, for those that listen to this later and for Laura, because I know she's not been on a CCC call before, to introduce you to the co-creators convergence. So the CCC is a heart resonant community of uniquely gifted souls dedicated to embodying and amplifying our collective consciousness, thereby co-creating a world that works for everyone. We do this with great love, compassion, joy, honoring all realms of creation to accelerate the awakening of humanity. And you are invited to join with others who feel the call to co-create with the field of consciousness to serve the highest expression of humanity. So there are 4 ways to participate in this loving community, 4 ways. And the first is in Facebook. There's a Facebook group called the Co-Creators Convergence. And the second way is on this Zoom call that's held once every month on the 3rd Thursday of the month. And everybody is welcome. The topics and guests change from month to month. And if you have somebody that you'd like to bring as a guest to this call, you just let Bob and Noel know. And you can bring a guest to the call. The third way to connect is at the annual event, which is held at Sunrise Ranch in Loveland, Colorado. And this year, the dates for that are June 12th through the 16th, 2019. June 12th through the 16th, 2019. And I think this is year number 7, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Kathy? Yeah, so this is the 7th year that this community is coming together in Loveland. And it's a group of approximately 50 of the community. And it's really another deeply connected community. We are that at the Milagro World Center, and CCC is similar in that regard, and it's also a joyful celebration of people coming together. So it's great. And then the last way to connect is at the website, which is co-creatorsconvergence.com. So that's who the Co-Creators Convergence is. Bob and Noel founded this in 2012. Inspired by the work of Barbara Marx Hubbard and a group of 40 of us from around the world that came together that were studying with Barbara. And it's been a delightful adventure ever since. So let me now introduce you a bit to Michelle and Marie, very special individuals here. Very honored and delighted to have them with us tonight. So Michelle is 20 years a spiritual seeker, and she's been a teacher and a student for the last decade. Her goal is to help people find joy in their lives, enabling the release of fear and worry and negativity and stress. So with that endeavor, she became a Reiki Master in 2010, and then started absorbing all forms of magical and metaphysical learning. and has delved into the study of world religions, as well as how the brain is wired. And from there, she discovered theta healing, a powerful practice, and became an instructor. So she's a master theta healer. And this practice, she's earned the highest accommodations in the field with a certificate of science in 2012. So Michelle has dedicated her life to guiding people on their spiritual journeys and helping them to create the life they desire, filled with joy and purpose. And you work within the law of attraction as well to create a change in perception and mindset, and alters the reality to enable a desired life of purpose and meaning. So thank you, Michelle, for being with us. And Marie, Marie was born and raised in Cameroon, Africa. Marie is a healing artist and creativity and shamanic coach, as well as a practicing MD as an anesthesiologist for 23 years. As a healer and coach, Marie offers transformational experiences for leaders and change makers who want to step more fully into their power. Marie immigrated from Africa to the United States in 1995 to pursue her career in anesthesiology, and in 2015, her personal transformational journey accelerated when she was invited to participate in painting and meditation with Whitney Freya. And I think several of you may have met Whitney Freya on one of the CCC calls that was hosted a few months back. So Whitney Freya was very instrumental in Marie's transformational journey. So from Marie's home base in Southern California, she continues to work as an anesthesiologist as well as a creative entrepreneur. She holds sacred space through personal and global retreats and online experiences. And she also supports change makers to step into their fullest potential, which she calls the dream self. So just really, again, delighted and honored to have both of you with us to share yourselves with this community. And just to briefly introduce Joseph to those that may not know us, we are co-founders of the Milagro World Center, and we are based in Panama, Chiriquí, Panama, and we host retreats, online education, and other events as well. So we are we have several people here that actually have been to Panama. Talia and David actually have been. So we're again thrilled to be here to host Michelle and Marie and to fill in for Bob and Noel. We're going to start for a few minutes here with an attunement from Marie. So with that, I turn it to you, my dear, to bring us into the field. Bring us in.
Thank you so much for this beautiful introduction, and welcome everybody who's here live and each and every one of you who is going to listen later. We're going to do an attunement to come into the heart in full respect of the goals and the wishes of this community, the co-creator conversions. We are going to bring each and everyone into the heart. So for people who are listening, who are not here live, if you're driving, if you're doing anything that requires deep attention, please stop and make sure that you're safe. We're going to be using an alchemy bowl. This is made with amethyst crystals, and I'm also going to be using chakra realignment tubes. So you're going to hear these two sounds. This one and those. So taking a deep inhale through your nose and out through your mouth. Inhaling through your nose and out through your mouth, signaling your whole being that you are ready to enter into a meditative state. As I call in golden energies emanating from the sky, coming down your higher chakras to your crown, penetrating your whole brain, your skull, your brain, helping you let go of all the cares, all the worries, helping you gently relax. Golden energy going down the back of your head, down your shoulders, your back, and the front, down your face, letting your eyes sink into their sockets, maybe rolling your neck a little bit, allowing yourself to arrive here now. Feeling this golden ray, this energy is going down the front of your face, having beautiful, relaxing, warm feelings going down your face, your neck, your chest, going down, down, down your whole body, feeling your whole body relax, feeling these golden energies going down, down the back, your buttocks, your hips, really allowing your hips to feel this energy. We hold so much in our hips. That's where we lock deep emotions. So really feeling or knowing or pretending that this gooey, yummy, golden energy is penetrating deep inside your hips, going down your thighs, your legs, all the way down to your feet, down, down, down to the core of the earth. I'm now going to invite each and everyone in your inner journey to turn your left palm down and your right palm up. In your inner journey, left palm down, right palm up, as I call each and everyone who is in a circle. So with your left hand, hold on to the right hand of the person on your left side. And with your right hand, hold on to the hand of the person on your right side, and feel this circle going and going and going around to each and every member of this amazing community. Feeling the connection, feeling the support, feeling the love. As I call in emerald green ray to come down each and everyone's hands and hearts, feeling the emerald green energies flowing down both your arms to your hands, transmitting these energies to each person on either side of you, and feeling this green emerald energy going around and around and around in the full circle as we gently come into resonance, allowing our hearts to open, bringing in feelings of joy, feelings of love, harmony. Getting ready to step into this space where we come and share and love each other and support each other and share from a space of deep commitment to the evolution of humanity and ourselves. Letting these energies flow from your heart and your arms to your neighbors as you receive yourself and you receive the energies from them. I call each and everyone's higher self, guides, guardians, allies to be with us as we participate in this beautiful meeting. So take some nice deep inhales through your nose and exhale through your mouth, bringing yourself to the meeting, bringing yourself to the present moment, your heart fully open, connected to each and everyone in this beautiful co-creator circle. One more inhale as you gently, gently open your eyes. And exhale with sound. Coming back fully to the present moment as we dive in our beautiful meeting today.
Beautiful.
Coming back even more. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful, just beautiful. Before I turn this to Joseph, I just want to briefly speak to our theme for this evening, and it is around the divine masculine and divine feminine and activating this high priestess, high priestess within. And so, Joseph, I turn this to you to open our discussion.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Nina. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Marie, for that centering. I went places. Woo, I'm back. I'm back. Well, we're delighted to have Michelle and Marie here and to talk about the higher heart of Avalon, which is the name of their retreat. And I spent years in Avalon as guardian of the child as well. So this resonates big time with me, and the understanding and the masculine and the feminine as well. So with that, I will ask the first question. And we're speaking of the higher heart of Avalon. what does activation actually mean, and what does it involve? I don't know if it's Michelle or Maria, both that are going to answer this.
I'd like to say something first, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Hi, and it's just a real honor and excited and pleasure to be here with all of you and share this connective energy. And on such an auspicious occasion, when we talk about the masculine and the feminine divine, today being either the spring or the fall equinox, depending on where you're watching this from. So happy equinox to all. And even the day is an activating sort of day. Because to me, the word activating means that we all have within us this masculine and feminine divine and the unity of the co-creation or the co-creator. We have all of that. We have our own divine self within us. And to me, the word activation is awakening and remembering what is already within your cells and your body and in your soul. So you're awakening. Activating is bringing something forth that is already there and bringing it to the next higher, more profound level, so that you are able to access it with greater ease and with greater love and with greater joy. So that's the first layer for me. And I know, Maria, I'm sure you have a definition as well.
Yes, I love what you said, which is really important and crucial for everyone to know, which is we already have everything we need within us. However, a lot of us have forgotten, and a lot of us don't know how to access those parts of us that we need. And so I love what you said about awakening, remembering. And the other thing I want to add is that sometimes you need a mirror that can actually let you show how magnificent you are. And the other thing that is so beautiful is that we all have masculine and feminine within us. And those parts of us have been wounded depending on where we come from and what happens in our lives, in our societies, with the people we know, or how we were brought up. And when we are in this beautiful retreat that we are going to offer next year, what's going to happen is there are such healing energies from all of us and from the land itself, where we can start healing the wounds. We can start bringing some harmony between the feminine and the masculine within us, starting with freedom, starting with forgiveness, because those two things are really, really, really important. And the other thing that I'm totally excited about is that Michelle and I have different gifts that when brought together, so beautiful.
The yin and the yang.
Yes.
And when I have the imagination of all of us being able to touch the stones and to touch the places, when what I see it activating is that as we activate our bodies, we activate our souls. When we do that by touching each other, the group of people that will come together in this will be part of this, as well as anytime you go to a sacred site, you are experiencing the land. So you are healing or awakening what is latent in the land. And so I think this group of people will do a duality where we're awakening for the land and the places we go, healing the places that we travel through, but we will also then heal and transform and grow and activate within ourselves that transformation of stepping into who we've been on a soul level that perhaps we've either been afraid to be or we haven't understood at its fullest capacity. And that's where that awakening, that phoenix rising comes into play, where I think the whole world is ready to open their hearts and open their eyes and open their minds the way kind of people on this group have been doing. We're leaders. We're leaders, forerunners of what the world is ready to bring into its action.
Yeah. Beautiful. I just would love for us to hold a bit about the sacred travel to the end of the call, because not everyone may be interested in the journey per se, but we have invited everyone for the activating the high priest, high priestess tonight. So I just want to make sure that our primary focus is on that. So thank you for allowing me just to place that gently in the field.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is we're all doing it right now.
Yeah.
Like these days in the world right now, we are awakening. The world is in and that's why I said today is a sacred day for that. People are ready to wake up. Astrologically, today is a day of balance. So when I see that, I feel it inside like an equilibrium coming into people today.
Beautiful.
Okay, I guess everyone's waiting for me again with the question, or
So,
is everybody guessing, or? Okay. Thank you, Michelle and Marie, for that. The first question, what does activation actually mean, and what does it involve?
So we just finished talking about activation, what it means for Michelle, for me, and what it involves. And I think that one thing I'm going to add to finish answering the question is that activation happens both ways. You need somebody who maybe has tools or maybe who can open doors, and then the person who's actually experiencing the activation has to say yes, because it's a voluntary thing that we do. It's a saying yes to ourselves. So you have those two yin and yang parties, like the person ready to be activated, and then something that will help them get there. It could be, being in a sacred site, or being in the presence of some energies, or maybe an experience, or being in nature, or cosmology, something that will help you unlock and remember. So that's how I would end the answer to that question.
And just to add to that, I think we do that even if we start touching our heart. I mean, have you ever touched your heart and just felt it release something that no longer needs to be there? Or you've had a light bulb come on and the epiphany arrives and you're like, I no longer need this. I no longer need this. So activations can come from the use of singing bowls and definitely in meditation. If people who are using meditation as a tool really tend have that readiness to upgrade, and they get these, I call them spontaneous activations. You literally kind of feel like, oh, something has something that's burdened me no longer is there. It's kind of like a leaving of one area and an upgrading, a feeling of lifting. One of my teachers, mentors, says that we're ready to upgrade our DNA right now. Everybody is letting go of old paradigms and old ways of being. And so as we let go of anger, as we let go of worry, fear, hate, because hate's a big one. Hate and anger block our activation. So as we do that forgiveness piece on a daily basis, as we let go of what's residual, we're like, oh, I can, and I am a co-creator of this reality. I am a divine spark of the light. It's coming from inside of me every day. And so I even think we're waking up and remembering and activating alone. Even sometimes it's a facilitator that comes in, whether that's a group meditation or a facilitator doing singing bowls, drumming, a sacred work. But it can be done on oneself, maybe using oil or a meditation, or just touching the points on our body, or even using a crystal to lay on our chakras. There's so many ways, but what it is it's lifting up the burdens and releasing them, and it is bringing in our awareness and our awakeness.
I really love that. I really love that because, again, it reminds us of this empowerment piece. Because when you start realizing, as Michelle says, that you have the divine spark inside of you, and as you realize that and you believe that, you start doing things that can help you raise your vibration. And as you raise your vibration, as you do this forgiveness or the willingness to change or to release, something magical happens. You start having opportunities actually to let go or to discover or to grow. And I love what you said about touching points on our bodies. I personally have a practice of self-love. Like every morning when I wake up, I do not get out of bed without placing my hands on my chest in a self-love mudra. Mudras are hand gestures where I just say, I love you, I love you, I love you. And that has helped me open my heart so much, like nothing else, because there's no expectation. I'm not trying, I'm just being. And so those are things that can really help with activations. And I love crystals. I always have a crystal, many crystals actually, if you want to know. I always have crystals because what I love about crystals is that they already hold certain vibrations, they already hold certain energies, and they can actually help. They want to do that. They help you raise your vibration so that you can open up to what's available to you. So what else did I want to add? Yeah, I think that's about it for now. It'll come back to me, but
Great.
Yeah.
You know, Joseph, you and I love a little bit of interaction in the middle of the call. I know that Bob and Noelle usually wait to the end, but you think we should open this up a little bit to see if there's any questions? Let's just see if there's any comments to the activation, something that someone else would like to share. That was beautiful. I'm so glad that we went a little bit deeper into it because I really, you know, I do this, but I didn't think of it putting my hand on my heart as an activation, it becomes more powerful that way. Yeah.
So putting your hand on your heart and even your thymus specifically can release negative energy, or it can be a block when something negative is like someone's saying something, you can't go, ooh, there's the hand, but you can act with compassion by saying, I'm going to open up my higher heart or my heart to you, but I'm not going to take it in empathically. And then you start creating a sacred space where you're giving them your love, but you're not taking it in to your body. So actually placing your hand here on your heart reminds you to be loving and compassionate. And it also reminds you to hold space, but without taking their pain or their fear or their frustration. And it also can be done when someone's like projecting just like something sort of vile, like if you have to watch the news and you don't like what it is, you remember to stay heart-centered by just tapping this area, which there's really two spots. There's the thymus here, and then there's a little bit lower at the chest, more in the chest area. So there's the difference between the heart and the higher heart, and they have two different energies within them. So a lot of times I'll take my entire left hand, and the reason we use the left hand for that is because it is where the actual heart physically is, on your left side. So you place your left hand, which reminds you to be heart-centered. Whereas if you use the right hand, you're actually breaking energy. Like, you know, you're cutting the energy between you, like cutting a cord between what's going on. So if I'm more shielding, I need to be like, okay, I'm not letting what you're saying, I'm not going to take it personally. You can have all your opinions in the world, but I won't take that in for me. Or you know, ooh, that's your opinion, not mine. I can still love them for where they are and not take it in. So you'll use the shielding or the breaking hand to do that. And of course, I love doing the both hands, like Marie said, is just an act of self-love. So there's a couple different things in that can be fun.
Love that. Thank you. So we're going to just for a few minutes here, see if anyone has something that they want to add, or if you have a question for Michelle and Marie in this particular area. Yeah, Kathy.
I have a question. You had said that people are getting activated and becoming more aware. And I'm seeing the people that were asleep being activated and becoming more empathic and not knowing what to do. But I'm also seeing some of my friends that are masters struggling terribly with being in 5D, or whatever you want to call it, being they're in both worlds, but not doing so great in this one. Do you have any comments about that, Michelle?
Actually, I believe that is part of the ascension process, actually.
Okay.
That actual backslide that you're talking about, where the masters are having actually sometimes physical symptoms, sometimes they're having really big life struggles where they're working through. When we move into the 5D reality and the 12-strand DNA reality, the crystalline light body, there is a lesson about the law of illusion. So in the early days of ascension process, you're working through the law of attraction, you're learning just in your own power. But what comes through in the ascension process is actually the law of illusion, which is when we don't realize at our fullest capacity that we are truly the divine, not separate in any way from the divine. We are given with the law of illusion a stronger lesson so that we can actually come out and overcome something into our highest form. So I often see someone right before their breakthrough go through struggle. As they are coming into their most divine transformation, they go through struggle, and usually it brings up their deepest layers of forgiveness that need to be happening, their deepest forms of manifesting that need to be required, because manifesting requires them to understand that they can call in anything, and they have to go overcome the impossible. So the impossible is one of life's lessons, because with the divine, everything is possible. And so you have to understand that the impossible is an illusion that we have created as a man-made structure. And so actually, that is probably a sign that they're really, really close.
Oh, good.
If they're willing, if they're willing.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. That Joseph, that reminded me of when you had your accident. Actually, I had a full body visceral response to Joseph's, near-death experience, and with the stunning recovery. Yeah.
So that he had an instant healing in the field, right?
Yes.
And he had to realize he's the magician, that he was worthy of that true, complete healing, instant healing in the field.
Wow.
I remember
Yeah.
we actually had a conversation when that happened, where I went into meditation, and it was like, I see him healed, and the accident was like, you couldn't even believe that he could be healed if you didn't have that faith and that.
Right.
Yeah, that was
Stunning.
amazing.
Yeah, for those that may not know about it, Joseph, is it all right if I just share what happened would you like to share what happened, Joseph?
No.
No? Coming
No,
up on
it was a rundown feeling. Let's put it this way.
the car ran over his upper body, and
Yeah.
so it was pretty stunning recovery.
Sorcery.
And look how beautiful you are now, Joseph.
Oh, bless your heart, man.
Oh,
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. and the
We're still
smile.
smiling. We're still here. Yes. Work is not finished yet.
Yeah.
So, and you'll see my lights going on and off. Welcome to Panama. We have an amazing storm happening out there, and I'm watching all this lightning and everything in the distance, and it's raining like crazy out there. So I'm enjoying not only all the healing bowls, but the rain and the waterfalls and all of you. A real treat. I'll have to go get some popcorn now, I think.
Oh,
Now, did you want me to read the next question now, or are
Yeah,
you going to?
No, you go ahead. I just want to see if there's any other questions on this. That was
Okay.
so juicy. That was, that was really great. Beautiful. A lot there. Okay. Yeah. You've got it. Floor's yours.
Well, this is a little bit segued into what we were just been talking about here. Tell us a little bit more about why sacred travel is so powerful.
Michelle, you want to go first?
Sure. One of the things that's really amazing about travel, and I'm going to just start with any travel, is if you're wanting to activate and transform, it's sometimes really difficult to do so when you have the exact same routine every single day. When you go to the grocery store, you go to work, you see the same people, you come home, you sit in the same place, or even you're looking around and you're like, I need to fold that laundry and I need to do this. So the whole idea of travel as the time to make mental changes is not new. They've been doing pilgrimages and travel as long as people have been, you know, walking around on the planet. But right now, in this very over technology, overwhelming time, when you make a commitment to travel, whether that's to visit your family, or whether that's to someplace you want to go, whether that's to a museum or to a sacred site, or even you decide to go take a class somewhere. That's one of my favorites, is you go and you start studying something that you've wanted to do, or you go somewhere to be with people that you can, you know, be your higher self with. That takes you out of your comfort zone. And sometimes it has difficulties. I just was in Montana, and it came with finding out that the place I was going to put my tent was solid bedrock, you know. And so it's not always easy, but that actually allows you to overcome, and it allows you to spend time alone with your own soul, spending time alone processing it, and it puts you in different places to interact with new people, new concepts, new ideas. And when you go to a place, you are transformed by that place. So using Montana as an example, I was there on the land, and this is a place where, if you have ever been to the Glacier National Forest, or you have ever been to Yellowstone National Forest, there's no denying the massive creation of some power that created the beauty within the surroundings, the wildlife. That so for me, it was touching into nature and being awakened by the land, that primal side of me that was like, you know, I must touch the land more. And in this case, I had a technology, like the universe was playing a trick on me, because I was expecting to have some internet capabilities and expecting to have some cell capabilities, and it was all taken away from me. So I had this moment of lack of connectivity in my modern head, which then put me right into the space of so much connectivity in my heart space, because here I am in this beautiful natural zone in this place. And so it woke something up inside of me that could only have been done if I was removed from what I intended to do and placed in what spirit required me to do in that moment.
That is so beautiful. The thing about sacred sites, and I agree with you, Michelle, is that there is something that is absolutely sacred. I know I'm using that word again. With going to places where people have been going over and over and over. The thing is, the land is a sacred recorder. The trees hold so much wisdom for humanity. And most of the times when you go to sacred spaces, sacred places, even the fact that you're with other people, you can still be in silence and alone. And silence is actually the greatest connector, because that's when you can hear yourself. That's when you can hear guidance coming through. That's when you can be big. Because as you fall in silence, you connect with the land and you realize that you also have that greatness inside of you. And everybody knows, if you touch or hug a tree, there is so much wisdom, so much information that comes from that. And the second thing I wanted to talk about is the healing that happens, because there is a remembrance that comes when you hit sacred land, sacred sites. There is so much healing for us. And I want to talk about the scientific part of this. when you go to a place that is new, there is something that happens. It's called pattern interrupt. It's like your brain actually freezes for a moment, because the only thing the brain wants to do is to have a routine. That's it. That's all. It just wants to categorize things like, I know that, I've done it, I've been there, this is how it works. Boom, let's place it here. And so what happens is, the minute you do something and you do it twice, your brain immediately creates a routine for that activity. And what happens is, after that, we don't have to think about it. Can you imagine if you had to learn how to brush your teeth every day? Or how to drive a car every day? Like how your brain doesn't want that. It just wants to have a routine and be done and put things in boxes and files. However, when you go into sacred sites, you interrupt these patterns. And the scientific term is called pattern interrupt. And the minute it happens, your brain starts creating synapses, new pathways. It grows, it expands, and it's like, how are we going to do this? What's happening? And the thing is, because you keep having new experiences, it cannot go into a routine. And that's how you grow. That's how you make new pathways. That's how your brain actually gets younger and younger and younger. So people talk about all these transformative experiences. You can say spiritually, emotionally, physically, and scientifically. So I travel all the time, and it's the best thing that could ever happen to me. So, yeah, really amazing.
I'm just gonna say a word or two on that too, because it's interesting. I sense the pattern interrupt makes perfect sense, but I also feel that in a sacred site, the pattern interrupt is there even if you go to the same place twice. And I'm not certain, I can't explain why that would be,
Because
but I feel that's true.
yeah, it is totally true. That's why I was saying that what happens is spiritually, emotionally, physically, scientifically, because when you're in a sacred site, you are actually receiving information. If you're sensitive to energy, if you can see, if you can feel, just being in the space, it's like you can feel like data or downloads or uploads or whatever the word is for you going inside. Like I'll feel like electricity running through my body. I'll actually
Electricity. I was just thinking electricity
yeah,
from the ground, from my feet.
right. So you have everything happening at the same time. That's why it's so powerful. So yes, absolutely, Nina, you're right. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna agree with that too. One of the things that I always find is that there's this power when you're in a place, and a memory. And if you've ever lived there before, it starts triggering your memories, or even in your genetics, if that is where your ancestors are from. So it brings in ancestral memories, the memories of the people and things that are in that place, like telekinetically. And kinesthesiology, if you touch something, the stones of the buildings, your feet on the stones or the land, it brings it into you, and it's very physical.
Yeah. Totally.
It's so fascinating to hear because this is my first meeting, and it's fascinating to hear some of the things that, as a layperson, but really an empath, to hear some of these things so beautifully expressed, which is exciting for my growth, and exciting that these things that I'm feeling are being expressed in such a great way that I can understand. Oh, yes, yeah, I do that. I do this. Yes, I can understand how that would work. So that's fabulous. And I wanted to graciously thank you for that.
I honor that you're going to be opening yourself up more as you are wakening up. You're not a lay person anymore. You're an awakening person.
This is what I call waking up royally. I mean, you just come straight to the co-creators. Like, you know, that's a high awakening if there's one. Congratulations.
Thank you. I could use it. I'm going through difficult times. When we did the meditation, even though it was supposed to be joy, the tears were just streaming down my face. But what I realized is that at that same time, to receive, you have to let go, because otherwise you're full.
Yeah. And I want to say that this was a healing meditation. So sometimes we have tears because we actually don't know what happened, but we know that something happened, and the only way we can express is through tears. So tears are good. I love tears. And as a scientist, as a doctor, you know, when you release tears, so many things happen in your brain. So your brain immediately starts secreting feel good neurotransmitters and hope, you know, and so it's good.
And getting rid of, I know that they've measured different substances in our tears that help us shed the anxiety, which I have a great deal of, and release oxytocin and whatnot. So I know it's good. It's just hard to allow yourself to feel the pain.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I validate you and see you that this is the moment you open up, the transformation already is starting within you.
Thank you.
That is very much part of the process, is that the moment you agree, you don't even have to know what you're releasing. It starts letting go.
Right.
And you say, brings in the new layers of who you desire to be, rather than the past of who you were holding on to.
Exactly.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Beautiful.
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is, what does magic mean in everyday life?
I love that question. Although, you know, Michelle is called Magical Michelle, I think that magic in everyday life is when we allow ourselves to stay in wonder, to stay in joy, in discovery and expression. Actually, I think magic is connection to ourselves first, and of course the divine, which is in each and every one of us. And when you do that and you stay in this wonder, sometimes I just look at the sun and I'm like, look at this sunset, and it's so beautiful, and I just cry or with joy. And sometimes it's just realizing the miracles of our lives. No matter what's going on or what we think is not good or right, when we stop and actually look, it's like we're here. I mean, the miracle it takes to actually become a human is to me, everything is magic. Everything. And I know Michelle will explain this with more words. And, you know, over to you, Michelle.
You've got this really, really good. We are soul sisters on this journey. And I just, magic in everyday life to me is the ability to see that every little thing is a miracle. Everything. And that we are creating, and Joseph said this when I spoke with him earlier in the week so beautifully. I think it was Monday. He's like, everything is a sacred ritual. Everything is a ritual or a actually I think he used the word ceremony. That when we start actually seeing life as a ceremony, and for me, I think of it as little mini rituals throughout the day. And then what I think Joseph was talking about was the bigger picture of sacred ceremony of the wheel of life. And how when we start seeing, for me, it's transformation and alchemy. And alchemy just means the changing of something. And magic, to the same extent, is about the change and the miracles. And to me, it's creating miracles out of everyday expression. And so I have this window that I work at, and right now it's butterfly season in Florida. And I see butterflies, and just expecting that miracle is magic to me. And being able to connect, to me, we are living in the world of magic right now, because I'm 46 years old. And the fact that we are on this call, zooming all over the world, is the Jetsons to me. Like, this wasn't even something that was a concept that was possible, as I used to drag my rotary dial phone under the bathroom door with the long extension cord to get some privacy away from my parents. So, and I always thought limo drivers, you know, drove people around, and now there's Uber. You call a car with your phone, which is in your hand, which looks like something out of Star Trek or Star Wars. And so we are living a life of magic every moment.
Right.
Babies being born is magic. Healings happening is magic. Forgiveness and the true transformation, that forgiving yourself for the shouldas and the wouldas of the couldas. I should have, I would have, I could have. If you can see the magic in letting all of that go in and out, and say, I forgive you for not being who I need you to be in your own heart, in your own soul, there's magic in everyday life right there.
Right.
Beautiful.
My mother never lost her childlike wonder. And I know she passed that down to me. She's gone about 3 years now. And her childlike wonder, I think, is the way that I approach the world, not in naivete, but in splendor and amazement of little things that just are, especially nature.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna move on. That was magic. Yes, that was magic. And you know, the magic of these sacred sites that they talk about, I mean, they're all instruments of transformation. When we speak about this magic, it is all about transformation here, and reaching that pain that we talk about. So beautiful, spoken by both you lovely ladies. And next is, how does an everyday person live as a priest or a priestess?
Mm.
Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go?
Sure, I'll go. We end up usually saying the same thing anyway.
No, it's different, and it's different. They each have their own unique signature of, yeah, it's beautiful to hear.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But what I mean is, it's so harmonious that it really. So how do we live as a priest or priestess? And the word you're using is everyday person. I firmly believe that we all have the divine spark in each and every one of us. And if you're divine, by definition, you're a priest or a priestess. However, in order to really live like one, number one, you have to remember who you are. You have to remember that divine spark. You have to create situations where you can always remind yourself. And these, actually, I love when they're very simple, meaning you create rituals that fit in your everyday life, that help you stay connected to yourself and the divine, and really start showing up with integrity, with authenticity, with compassion, with love, with really full expression of who you are. And rituals don't have to be, like sitting in meditation for an hour. It could be smiling at that person in the elevator that is really grouchy, and you can tell they're really having a tough day. And smiling at that person, not in a condescending, like, oh, my life is better, but like, I see you, I honor you, and please receive this love, without invading them. That could be so profound, because maybe that person is ready to go and do away with themselves, and that smile could be the only thing that keeps them alive. That could be one ritual. So creating maybe a space in your home where you remind yourself that you're a priest or a priestess. That could be a specific chair where you can sit comfortably and go within for 5 minutes. Or maybe that window Michelle was talking about, where you look at butterflies and you thank, God, source, energy, whatever the word is for you, for sending you that beauty. It could be that. So we are all priests and priestesses. However, as we take responsibility for remembering that, we also need to create these rituals, these reminders, where we can truly show up that way for ourselves and humanity, because humanity needs all of us to be priests and priestesses. Over to you, Michelle.
I love everything you said. I mean, I love it. And what I want to add, because I don't want to detract from what you said, I'm going to go a different direction, because I would have said a lot of what you said, is that one thing about being a priest or a priestess is that you understand and recognize the divinity within inside of you. And one of the acts of being a priest or being a priestess or being some kind of ceremonial head of whatever sort, whether it's a church or a shaman of any sort, is the act of bringing the audience or the group of people that they're working with, bringing them to understanding that they are that light. And so the first act is understanding in a daily way. And one of the easiest ways to do that is with a practice such as meditation and gratitude and daily just remembering who you are. And the second is the daily acts of bringing that into the world and helping other people remember who they are. So when you recognize that you are the divine, the second part of that is remembering for the entire rest of the world and helping them understand that they are the divine. So you treat every single person, being, thing as if it were God as well. So when you understanding you're you, and you understanding and helping others remember that they are who they are, that they are the light. And whether it's like that smile, or it's empowering, or it's an act of compassion and kindness, it's the walking the walk and talking the talk on a daily basis is all that's required. Because that's really, we took the connection from the divine and put it in someone else's hands, a couple of 100 years ago or so. And this is a reclaiming of understanding that direct connection every day, in every way, in every act that we do.
I like that.
As do I. That's a beautiful framing of priest and priestess. And there is a responsibility that you're speaking of in there too.
Yeah, to yourself, to humanity, and to the divine itself.
Yeah.
I think Talia had her hand up. There we go.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Joseph. Well, this is great. And of course, I feel that's so true. Sometimes it's easier to put it off on somebody else. It's, I think maybe it comes from that past experience, either this life or maybe ancient things that have happened to people, where you step out and there's judgment, or there's strong very strong trying to put you down and becoming a victim, or I think almost feeling like, oh dear, I can't do this. I don't know, because the judgment is so great. And yet, it's that strength. There has to be some courage there. I guess there's a prayer for courage in accepting that that role, that priest or priestess role, a prayer for courage that you can hold that, even with that extreme, maybe even at times, put down. Holding clear to who you are. I don't know, it's quite a process. It seems like it's not just a little thing that you say with a smile.
I really love that. As I started talking, I saw that Michelle had her hand.
You go first.
Really long. I I love what you're saying because it brings something to light, which is that, and I don't think I made it really clear when I was talking about, I think being a priest and priestess is first and foremost your own responsibility. It's not about being somebody else's priest. It's not about explaining anything to anyone. It's about you with you and the divine. And there's something that happens is when you take responsibility for being that, for raising your vibration, for living in compassion, in true authenticity and integrity, you begin to radiate. You become so magnetic. You won't even have to talk. You won't have to say things so that people can then put you down and tell you how crazy or whatever it is. You don't have to. However, that actually requires a lot of courage because it means you actually have to see yourself. And we're the hardest people to see because then you have to see, how do I show up with myself? How do I talk to myself? How do I behave with myself? How do I forgive myself? How do I love myself? That's what matters. And the minute you do that, it's like a ripple. So, Michelle,
You came at it totally from a different direction, but what I was going to say is when we get into acceptance without judgment, we start honoring the acceptance of others and the acceptance of ourselves. And we move out of the layer of judgment or allowing anyone else to judge us. And that comes from within, because that's a confidence standard. And it does take courage. So you said it first and Marie said it, courage is required in this. It is not for the faint of heart. And it is heart healing because I think the next layer to understand, and we touched on it, but we didn't really go into it, is the accountability of being your own best friend. Being your own best friend and treating you like you were your own lover or your own best friend. The way everyone in this kind of group treats another person. We treat others better than we treat ourselves very often. Right. We would do anything. We're givers, but part of this lesson in this is the learning to receive, because the heart beats out blood and then brings blood in, and you cannot have one without the other. It must go out and come in, and that's what love is like too. You are in a deficit if you are only giving. You're in a deficit if you're only receiving.
Right.
So as we come into this balance point, it's about accepting oneself exactly who one is. Maybe still growing and getting better, but the first layer is acceptance and deep self-forgiveness and deep self-love, and the long-term goal of non-judgment for ourselves and others. There is a powerful piece in non-judgment. And it's hard, but once you step into that, so many miracles, so many more miracles are possible.
Would you say it has to do with when you're dealing with negativity from other people? Would you say that becoming a priestess and allowing your powers to come up from within you and from within the divine would be a matter of self-trust, which I think so much of society wants to take away from the individual? And that's, to me, what popped out was, oh, you have to trust yourself that you know what's best for yourself, and to get in touch with this power, that it's okay and it doesn't need to be explained, and you're not responsible for someone else, but you are listening compassionately, but without being an empath and taking on the negativity.
Absolutely. And the other piece about real, truly understanding the divine is the energy of pure love.
That sounds good.
The divine is the energy, whether you call it God or source or whatever. The standard here is pure love. The frequency of that always permeates with the kindest, most loving energy. That's what comes from the well, from this source.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
what that's the message that comes in as your own high priest or priestess,
Right.
is that you receive the frequency of love. That is ultimately the power of the energy and the message. It is always the message will come with love and through love. And so then nothing can take that love away from you, because the
Okay.
frequency of love always overrides.
Yeah. I want to dive into physics here. As you know, I'm a doctor, so sometimes I have to bring it like really talk about practicalities and science, because sometimes people think, oh, well, it's woo. No, this is actually physics. It's the law of entrainment, what Michelle is talking about. The thing is, when you are love, you cannot attract anything that is not love. So if you are having disharmony, I call it disharmony in your life, it's just a mirror, like, okay, where else am I maybe not loving? Not with judgment, but just with neutrality, with self-awareness. Because what happens is the energy that has the biggest amplitude always wins and entrains the other. So you could walk in a room where people are ready to fight, and if your energy of love is bigger, everybody will stop and look like, who is this? What? It's entrainment. And it's explained, with equations, with whatever you want. And there's something that I wanted to add also, which is sovereignty. You need to be sovereign and allow people to be sovereign also in their own experience. If somebody feels like they have to put you down, it's like, what is going on? Why do they feel like they have to do that? It is not for you to answer, it is for you to notice that there is a place in them that actually needs love. Because when you are loved, you don't even think about putting somebody down or being negative, or it doesn't.
And what is sovereignty?
Sovereignty means that you're your own person, you own your own stuff, you're responsible for it. You don't need someone to validate you.
Ah.
Say that I'm good, then it means I'm good. You probably explain it through trust.
Okay.
And then you allow people to have their own experience. You don't do it for them. And that's really, 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 really important. One of the things that I constantly do through the day is I just declare that I only align to the highest vibration of divine love. That's all I allow in my life. That's it. That's it. I only align to that. And if anything shows up that's like, oh, that's a little strange, then it's like, okay, back to the lab or the magical space, or whatever it is for you, or my meditation. So we do that so that we can keep our self-awareness really sharp. So that's, you're welcome.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I just want to do a time check because we are at the 90-minute mark and we will continue, but for those that need to drop off, we completely understand we are at the 90-minute mark. But for those that want to stay, think Michelle and Marie, you're good to continue. This is
Just a little bit. I want to experience Michelle's activation before we go. I don't think it's going to be very long, but
No. And if we want to skip the last question, that seems more important.
Okay.
yeah,
All right, let's do the activation then. So for those that can stay on for the activation, I see, Kathy, is there something you wanted to say?
Well, David had his hand up to
Oh,
ask
okay.
a question.
You were pointing down and he's up.
Well, on my Hollywood squares, he's there.
All
I
right.
was thinking Brady Bunch.
So I think Elsie may need to go. I just, I want to acknowledge that. We're going to move into the activation. You can always listen on the replay. Okay. All right. Much love.
Bye. I just wanted to say that I know there's a point you can reach that I've reached occasionally in my life. Not a constant experience.
I think we need you to speak up a little bit, David.
It's not a constant experience, but something I have experienced in my life. And that is that there is no other. There is no other.
Yes. That's the law of illusion, saying that someone outside of you is judging you. But when you realize it's really some form of mirror of you finding that judgment.
exactly.
And then you start loving in and accepting and non-judging others, and loving in and not accepting it onto you, you start transforming it immediately. So yes, absolutely. You are the divine, and therefore your entire experience is yours.
And that's why we call it mirror.
So yes, I completely agree with you, David.
Yeah.
Is it because we are all actually one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then there wouldn't be another if we're all together.
It's our own reality experience. And everything you do to another is something you're doing to yourself. And if you're finding that you don't like the way others are treating you, start loving yourself.
Hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to mute myself for the activation. Maybe.
Let me know, Nina, when you think everybody's ready.
Joseph, are you ready? Should we move into the activation? Anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I'm just sitting here waiting to get activated.
Well,
all right, should we all put
I
unmute?
know that each of you are going to experience this in a different way. And some of you are already very, very awake. That's what's beautiful about very conscious people, is that each of you will experience this in the way that you desire to experience it. And so as I see it, time and space isn't linear. And so take a moment and set an intention of your next layer of transformation you're personally ready to embark on. That thing that you desire to embody, that next layer of you that you are ready. And I just want you to take that inhale into your breath, and you are starting to breathe in love. You're actually starting to breathe in the frequency of love and taking that in through and into every cell of your body. The understanding that love is all around you. And as you exhale, you're actually going to start breathing out the love that you're creating. So you're creating a cellular transformation, an energetic, molecular transformation in the air. You're even breathing around you. So you're breathing in love. And you're exhaling love in this moment. And inhaling love and exhaling love, and it's just creating a bigger swirl around you. And then I want you to imagine or feel the opening of your crown chakra, the top of your head, and it's going to feel like you're starting to be inside a giant jar of glitter. Like the entirety around you, the molecular structure around you is now a waterfall of sparkly white light. And your body is becoming a sparkly, glittery ball of love. And you can experience that in any color, shape, or form that you come into in your field. And as you do this, you are recognizing that your heart is actually connecting to the heart inside the planet. Your heartbeat is lining up to the planetary heartbeat. And when you do that, you feel the love coming into you. Maybe it's through your feet, or maybe it's going straight to your heart. And when you're doing that, you're actually starting to understand that the heartbeat of every other person is lining up to you right now. On a grid throughout the entire planet, all the beings, whether that's even the heartbeat of a tree or the heartbeat of an animal, but every person, every being that's ready to open up is opening up right now. And as we do this, we are connecting to this desire to live in our highest frequency. We're opening up and transmuting any residual anger that's just living in us. Any lack that is living in us, it's dissolving. And we're calling to us everything, the love, plenty, everything that we require and more. Everything we require and things we require. Being allowed to be part of our entire field at this time. The synchronicities, waking up the synchronicities, waking up the cellular parts of our body that are ready to activate. And if you want in your own mind to open up your 12-strand DNA, if you are ready to step into the most transformative reality you're ready for, allow yourself to say yes to that in your own space, in your own time, and in your own way. Allow it. Awaken to it. It is activating in you if that is your choice. And as you allow that to transpire, there's a moment of forgiveness of all that has come before, all that has been outside of you and all of your own. And you are activating, you are opening, and you are designing the reality that you're stepping into. Choose the frequency of the you that is already embodying where you're going, where you want to be, and who you already are. Remember who you already are and awaken your magic. Awaken within you all of your miracles and possibilities. And within that, you're going to feel two pyramids coming together at this time, entering into each other as a Merkaba. And you may feel that in the base of your spine. You may feel that in your heart, or you may feel that in your mind's eye, or you may feel it in all three places. That this Merkaba, this spinning pyramid, is opening up your pineal gland, opening up your heart, and opening up your base of your spine, and you are ready to emerge. Emerge into the activated you, the joyful you, the ready you. Anchor that feeling through every cell of your body and bring it out. Sending that out to anyone who is ready for the love. Anyone in the planet who is ready to heal. Sending out healing light and love to any being that is ready as we are connected all through the heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done, it is done, it is done. As above, so below, so it is. Amen, aho. And just take in whatever is needed for you at this time. When you're ready and you start coming back into your body and you start coming back into your eyes and you start coming back into your feet and hands, remember that you're the highest version of you. And that you get to keep this reality. You get to choose for you. Thank you. So please bring your awareness, and you get to take this and tap into it anytime you desire. You're ready, Nina. I am complete.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, let's just pause to see if anyone wants to say a few words before we leave. I will encourage everyone to go to the higherheartofavalon.com. You can also find it, let's see, it's not on our webpage yet, but it will be within the next few days. So right now, higherheartofavalon.com, and you'll see more about Michelle and Marie and the journey that they are planning for 2019. And to learn more about what Joseph and I are up to, milagroworldcenter.com. But let's pause to see if there's any last comments for Michelle and Marie before we all depart for our evening with this beautiful activation.
Thank you.
And welcome, Agnes. Joseph, anything that you'd like to add?
Well, I'd just like to thank Michelle and Marie for a beautiful session. And I would like to thank all our attendees here who brought in their hearts to join in together. I would also like Kate to share some of that raspberry or whatever crumble you're making. Don't think I forgot. So we all leave with a smile. We all leave with love. And we all leave with oh, bad.
No, there's no calories this way.
We'll take the essence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you both.
Where do you want me to save this thing?
Lots of love and peace to everyone.
I am so grateful for you, Joseph and Nina and Marie and every single one of you that's on this call for sharing energy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being such an amazing moderator, and everybody's participation, and Nina, your heart, and Michelle. Mwah.
Thank you. Thank you so
Love you.
much.
Hi, Bob and
Lovely.
Noel. We love you.
Lovely to meet you.
We're enjoying Davenport.
Thank you.
I like this, Laura.
Yes. Wow.
Joseph, do you remember Laura? Laura's from,
Yeah,
yeah?
I do.
Hi.
Hello, Laura.
Hi, I'm technologically challenged, but guess what? No, I'm not. I got
Hopefully,
it.
we'll see you soon, hopefully.
Synchronicity.
Yes.
We're sending you deep healing, Laura.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
For that level up. It's right around the corner. I feel that very intuitively for you.
Thank you. I understand what you're talking about and it resonates with me. So it's very exciting to hear it.
Laura is a very multi-talented woman. It's incredible. I'm still learning about her. One of the things is she's an amazing singer-songwriter and an archaeologist and on and on and on. And yeah, artist.
I'm a double secret Renaissance woman.
That's a good thing. That's good.
Yeah. People just learn about it in pieces because I want to be liked. I've been given a lot of gifts. I'm really challenged in math though. So, I need to have something that is such a deficit so that I can be real.
But you know what? It would be beautiful for you to be able to feel your magnificence in all those areas without.
I know that's something that's hard because I don't want to show somebody up. And I think the people that I have had in my life are not loving themselves. And so as I get healthier and healthier, it makes them feel less healthy.
So arrange for it to be an inspiration versus a detriment. Maybe if you look at it as you're a lighthouse and you're shining the light and you're inspiring rather than holding back your greatness to be with them, to anchor them, allow yourself to raise your frequency and allow them to be inspired by all of your amazingness.
I'm trying to teach them how to be kinder and more peaceful in that way.
Well, even if they're not, don't hold back your grace for them.
Okay. Uh-oh. Look out, world.
Yes. Look out, world, for your amazingness.
Yes.
It's time. Now is the time, and you have so much inside you. It is time for you to just shine that light in the world. The world needs it.
I do. I do practice it every day.
Yeah.
Because
Got this.
it's just in my nature.
Yeah, Laura's the type of person that is that bright, shiny, with everyone that she comes in contact with. It's very inspiring. But,
Great.
but interesting to know that you're still holding back. So I get it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because, it's hard when you, even though I suffer from anxiety and depression, I'm grateful every day and positive and look for the positive. And so I seem like I'm happy all the time. And people that are struggling don't like that so much all the time. So it can be a bit challenging just at work, because it seems like I'm always having such a great time. So it's having to sometimes tone it down a little so that you don't upset other people that maybe aren't as joyful, but sharing it with the people that you can share it with in my own way. That's what I do every day.
It's like being a morning person with somebody that's not a morning person.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good night, all.
Good night.
Mwah. We'll be in touch really soon. I'll try tomorrow, Michelle.
Yes, sounds
Okay.
good.
All right. Thank you, love.
Okay, bye, Michelle.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Laura.
Bye, Laura.
Awesome.
Did you enjoy it? Yeah. Great.
Oh, fabulous. I'm so thrilled just to have actually been able to copy and paste and get to this place in time. I couldn't believe it.
You did it. You did it.
Yay. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're welcome. You work tomorrow?
Yeah, from 12 to 5.
All right. I might see you.
Hope so. That'd be awesome. Bye-bye, Joseph.
I'll
Bye,
bring you
Laura.
up if I
Take care.
I will. And I'm going to sleep better.
Good.
Good.
Good. I'm
Good.
happy to
Yeah.
hear that.
Good night.
Hasta la bye-bye.
Hasta
Bye-bye. Hasta la bye-bye.
Let's see. What time is it? So it's 9:22. I have to decide if I'm going to walk the doggies tonight.
Well, I gotta clean up and close up.
Okay. So, all right. I'm going to exit Bob and Noel's line here, and then I'll just give you a quick call on the phone, and then we'll figure out if we're going to reconnect. Okay? I'm going to exit out of
Yeah.
their Zoom line, and then I'll call you. Okay?